Hello there. Welcome to Izzo's Place. Thirsty Thursday neck pours. No, I'm sorry. My apologies. This is the long review. Hopefully you saw the short and the neck pour. I'm not editing that out. I like you guys to know what kind of idiot you're dealing with. Anyway, so if you saw the short, what we neck poured in that short is a Thomas S. More bourbon. And they call this the extended cask finish. So it's Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey, and then they finish it. And in this particular case, it's the Cabernet Sauvignon casks. And I think I might have a battle between this and a Basil Hayden red wine finish early in the channel. I think a light just blew. That was weird. Anyway, so we'll go ahead and review this. Obviously, taking a bit off of that. Oh, you know what? That one's clean. Let's go ahead and a little thunk there. Not super great on the pop, but what are you going to do? Okay, so I'm going to take one nose, one taste, but I'm not going to give you any notes on it. And then we're going to let the glass sit for a minute. Let's look at the color though. It's a little redder than your normal amber bourbon, and that's not just the light that I have shining on it. That's kind of how it looks in the bottle. So it is definitely drawing some of those characteristics from the red wine, from the Cab Sauv. And just between you and me, Cab Sauv is basically my favorite red wine. Although, man, a nice Chianti. Oh, a nice Chianti. Okay, no notes yet. We'll let that sit. We'll read over the bottle. Okay. So it's got a horsey next to some trees, in case you need to see that. Thomas S. More, extended cask finish. Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey finished in Cabernet Sauvignon casks. It is 95.3 proof, it looks like. Hard to see, the stupid shiny sticker. It looks like 95.3 proof. 47.65% alcohol by volume. That tracks. Oh, here we go. 95.3, 47.65. Okay. So not the highest, but not the lowest. Thomas S. More. We're going to go ahead and read the entire back of this. Born in 1853, from the son of an architect and master craftsman, Thomas S. More surmounted countless challenges in building his bourbon empire. More began making whiskey at what would become the Barton 1792 distillery in Bardstown, Kentucky in 1889. His distillery flourished, and Bardstown is now the bourbon capital of the world. Much like the Belle of Nelson, Moore's original bourbon brand, paying tribute to the roaring racehorse, his legacy lives on today through his namesake brand. Made at the very same distillery with mineral-rich water from which the Tom Moore Spring, this Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey finished in Cabernet Sauvignon casks honors Moore's relentless ambition and his commitment to crafting bourbon whiskey that stands the test of time. This well-aged Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey was emptied from its oak casks after many years of aging, and then refilled in Cabernet Sauvignon wine casks. Left to mature for several more years, the taste is bold with notes of dark fruit, caramel, and vanilla. Should have stopped reading. A tribute to the early bourbon aristocrat, Thomas S. More. Then we've got a government warning. Then we've got distilled and bottled by Barton 1792 Distillery. Gives the address, no website. And that was interesting. See, for a change, I tried to do research before I hit the record button. And I found like nothing. There was nothing. There was a lot of these things that are owned by other companies usually will have its own website, so at least you can go in and look. So the distillery that where they make this is connected to the 1792 Barton Distillery, and of course, easy to find anything you want about 1792. So I had to struggle a little bit to find just a little bit of information. So it's the parent company, Sazerac. Sazerac owns 1792 Barton. It owns Buffalo Trace. I don't know what else it owns. Owns a bunch of stuff. So this Thomas S. More guy, he founded the original distillery back in 1879. And located on 196 acres, 22 warehouses, 22 other buildings. It's got the Morton Spring and the Tom Moore Spring. So they got a whole bunch of, and of course Kentucky's super proud of its limestone water. And I'm not going to argue on that. I'm just saying it. It's just a fact. All right. So the first three expressions, and I think I have all three. I have one of them here. I think I have the other two up north. I've got the Cab Sauv down here. They also have a Chardonnay and a port finish. And I think I have all of them up north. So sometime I'll do a review of the rest of them as well. So this Thomas S. More guy, he was trying to constantly evolve his whiskey empire. He started out humble, grew to a powerhouse distillery, filling hundreds of barrels of whiskey a day. That sounds pretty good. Now, his business was booming till guess what? Prohibition. So ceased production in 1920. So the Buffalo Trace Distillery and several others were able to continue distilling as long as, or they may not have been distilling, but they were able to continue selling their stock as medicinal whiskey. And so apparently Thomas S. More was not quite quick enough to join that club, but he did stay alive long enough for Prohibition to be repealed, and then his son took over and kept going. And then eventually Sazerac takes over. When did they buy it? Did they say when they buy it? I thought I read here somewhere when they bought it. Could be wrong. Sazerac was just hungry. He was buying up all this stuff. This article does not say when Sazerac bought it. But I will try to find some more history on this. Just too busy now to deep dive into whiskey history. I will eventually have enough free time to do that for you. Or at the very least, I'm going to read whiskey history books by other people. So that's a little bit, just a little bit, of history of Thomas S. More and the whiskey company that he founded. So, all right, let's finally go back in, and I'll let you know what notes I get from this whiskey. So there's sweet aspects to it. But Cab Sauv, at least the Cab Sauvs that I drink, are always on the drier side. So I get some sweet notes, some deep red fruit. But I also get drier notes from the oak. Hang on. It's more sweet than red wine, at least how I picture a Cab Sauv. So I get cherry and oak and a hint of black pepper. That's what's kind of coming at me from the wine aspect. Now from the bourbon aspect, I'm getting caramel, I'm getting some caramel, some vanilla. So it's kind of neat. So like the sweet aspects of bourbon that I like are kind of fighting a little bit with the dry aspects of red wine that I like. And I'm here for all of it. Alright, I'm going to need a minute. You're not going to believe some of these notes. It's more savory on the palate. You're not going to believe this note. I've never gotten this on anything. There is the lightest of asparagus aftertaste in this whiskey. And for me, that's not a knock. I love asparagus. I'll fry it up with some balsamic vinaigrette sometimes for myself. Let me go back in, because that's a weird note. Yeah, that's kind of wild on the nose. Still cherry, vanilla, caramel, and black pepper, like some dry notes from the red wine. And even though it's a Cab Sauv finish, I'm craving a Chianti right now. I might have to find one tomorrow. I might have some here. Maybe we'll do a wine review for a change. It's been a hot minute. Very complex, very enjoyable. So they don't give an age statement, but the way that they talk, I picture this, and this is just Izzo guessing. There's no knowledge that I looked up. I'm guessing 4 to 8 years as a bourbon, and then at least 2 years in a Cab Sauv cask. So we're getting close to 10 years on the barrel with this finish. On the palate, it takes on more of the aspects of the red wine. It's so weird that I get asparagus at the end. It's so weird. And y'all know what asparagus does to your pee. It's not that smell. It's a vegetative taste with salt and balsamic vinaigrette and a hint of butter. But not like all those tastes right up front. It's like an aftertaste. It's triggering a memory of some sort. So kind of the start of me finally being brave and cooking things started in Italy in 2017, and it started with me pan searing some asparagus with balsamic vinaigrette and butter. And like any other fancy or unfancy thing I've cooked since then stemmed from that. So it's drawing back a memory for me, and that's what smells and tastes do. They draw back memories. So I'm tasting it, and I'm telling you, dry red wines and asparagus in Italy, and you might taste this and get something completely different because your memories are different than mine. It's just one more aspect of why I find this stupid hobby I've found myself in. I enjoy it so much. Very sweet forward with the savory aspects further in the back. But then very, very dry, very savory on the palate. Almost no sweetness at all. I like this silly bottle. I'm glad I have one here. I'm glad I have one up north. And obviously, I've enjoyed this because little secret into my life. Most of the stuff here, I drink alone for reviews or with dinner. Anything that I've shared from here has gone out in little sample bottles, and I've tried it with people that way. Up north, more of my in-person friends are available, so those bottles get shared a little more than the Florida bottles. If you're ever interested in doing a flight of fancy with Izzo, just email me, heyizzo@yahoo.com. If you're over 21, I'll send you a flight to do. We'll record it together. If you're comfortable with it, we'll put it online. If you're under 21, I'm going to pick some fancy soda pops, and we're still going to do a blind. And same deal, if you're comfortable with it, we'll put it online. If you need to hide behind an avatar, easy to do. But yeah, so this, and when I bought this was 50% off at ABC Wines and Liquor. And honestly, I was slightly worried when I bought it. I'm like, oh no, maybe this doesn't taste good, but I'm really enjoying this bottle. So you never know what's going to come up. In future Izzo, he'll put the retail price and he'll put what I paid on it. So the other thing we'll just mention, so it's Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey finished in Cabernet Sauvignon casks. Now, some bourbon aficionados will say that because it was finished in a second cask, this is no longer a bourbon, it's something else. Let me know in the comments what you think. Do you think it's still a bourbon? Do you think putting it in a second barrel turns it into something else? I mostly lean towards it's something else now, but I'm always wavering on that. So let me know what you think. I'm just curious. All right, third official nosing, and where has all the sweetness gone? Okay, it's there. It's there. For a second, it went totally dry on me. But the vanillas, the cherries are back. The caramel. It's just giving me Cab Sauv and Chianti notes all day. There's not as much sweetness on the palate. The sweet is all in the nose. At least for me. And that weird hint memory of asparagus. You know what? I'm going to make sure I buy some asparagus and gonna fry it up, but you know what I think I'll do is I'll fry up the asparagus with balsamic vinaigrette and either a Cab Sauv or a Chianti, that little bit of oil. We won't do butter, we'll do oil, olive oil, and maybe we'll do a little review. So if you come across a Thomas S. More, I've seen at least 3 different ones. I've seen at least Cab, Chardonnay, and port finished. There might be other ones, but I've seen those 3. I have all 3. Personally, the Cab Sauv might be my favorite, but I will do a blind when I'm up north, and I will check on that. The ones that I've got up north, I'll blind them. Oh, you know what? There's also a Merlot. I have the Merlot up north. I know I have the Chardonnay. I don't think I have the port finish. So you know what? My next goal will be to get the port finish, and then we'll try all 4, and I'll let you know what I think. But in the meantime, if you're working, please work safely. If you're drinking, please drink responsibly. Do everything with a little bit of whimsy, and you're going to have a good time. And I will see you next time you're hanging out at Izzo's place.